Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your premier source for Second Amendment news. Wait till you hear what's going on in Missouri. Wow, they're really dividing the country here, really dividing those of us who are pro-gun people. But I want to thank the sponsor of today's news, that's Gun Pro Deals. You can find them very easily on Google because I can't put the link down. But I wanted to let you know that they are a big supporter of the Second Amendment. They've been staying open the entire time that the government's been shutting some stuff down. And they are one of the first in the country to have the new Bren 2 combo for sale that has the foldable A3 tactical stock and a tail hook. You can see the pictures here. Thank you to Nate for supporting today's news. Now, in doing research for this channel, sometimes it takes hours and hours a day. Well, often it takes hours and hours a day, but sometimes you see some stuff that's just crazy and outlandish. And what I found this week was an article in Missouri from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and although it's really out there, it's very left-wing anti-gun, I thought I'd bring it here to you because it shows how they see us, the pro-gunners, and what they really think. Like, it's their core values. Although this is kind of, you'll see what I mean. I'm going to read it to you. It's very short, but you'll see that they compare us, the pro-gunners, to the Confederacy, and they reiterate that the Civil War is over and stuff like that. Let me read it to you. Now, this article was posted on April 12th, and it's an editorial. They're going to talk about the Second Amendment preservation bill that was submitted, and that was HB 1637. I've done videos on that, and I will put it here for you that you can watch that. But this is what the article says. Once again, gun extremists in the General Assembly tried this session to push legislation to bar enforcement in Missouri of any federal firearms laws that they view as infringing on the Second Amendment rights. In addition to reopening an argument about federalism that was settled a century and a half ago, this tone-deaf measure is an affront to all the St. Louis gun victims who've died because those same legislators refused to allow even the most common-sense regulation of firearms. Luckily, the urgency of the coronavirus pandemic sidetracked their efforts for now. The Second Amendment's defense of the right to bear arms is specifically predicated on the necessity of a well-regulated militia for the security of a free state. Taken at face value, then, Missouri's so-called Second Amendment Preservation Act would seem to be unnecessary, since, last we heard, the federal government wasn't trying to disband the Missouri National Guard. And we'll get back to this, but they seem to leave out the shall not be infringed part, and they're ignoring cases like, McDonald and Heller, and we'll get back to it. Of course, the gun culture warriors pushing this measure conveniently ignore half the wording of the amendment they claim to cherish. Wait, weren't they just ignoring shall not be infringed? It's unfortunate that the United States Supreme Court in 2008 did exactly that, ruling that the militia language somehow enshrines individual gun rights. Still, even that deeply flawed decision specified that government has the right to regulate guns for public safety. That caveat, too, is conveniently ignored by the gun crowd, which seems to operate on a principle of cherry-picking what it likes from the founding documents and court opinions. Wait, what? This is the anti-gun movement. This is what you guys are doing. You're cherry-picking what you like and what you don't like and only taking part of the amendment. You guys are asses. But it continues. Through House Bill 1637, they've tried it with our very form of government. America is made up of states that govern locally under a federal government that determines national policies. Federal law is, as the Constitution puts it, the supreme law of the land. Actually, no. You're an idiot. The Constitution is the supreme law of land, not federal law. And the three branches, do you understand what law is? It can be challenged, and you're an idiot. Americans can challenge it in court or via elections, but state governments don't get to just ignore federal laws they don't like. Yet, how many states in the Union right now are ignoring the Second Amendment during this coronavirus pandemic? Shocking, right? But it continues, and this can be applied to every state that's struggling right now, every state that's being sued right now. Some Missouri Republicans apparently didn't get that memo, and they seem to have slept through that part of history class where the Confederacy lost the Civil War. That was the final word on whether states can just go their own way if they don't like this federal law or that one. They can't. Yet that's what you guys are doing on a daily basis. Sadly, the issue as it relates to guns is, for the moment, hypothetical, since federal law is almost as lax as Missouri law in addressing gun violence. Some states have enacted, for example, universal criminal background checks, but neither Jefferson City nor Washington currently abides that level of sanity regarding firearms. Really? No wonder Missouri's gun death rate is well above the national average. This legislation might sound like some doomed right-wing nuttery designed mainly for show, but a similar measure came dangerously close to becoming law a few years ago. For now, at least, the pandemic has helped ensure this nonsense goes nowhere. And you should read the comments. I'll have a link to this in the description, and some of the comments are pretty good. Check it out. Maybe leave some of your own and educate this person. But it's funny how they say that, this legislation, which looks to preserve the Second Amendment in Missouri, is some doomed right-wing nuttery in an editorial piece that is a bunch of left-wing nuttery. So we, those of us who are pro-gun, are Confederate soldiers, and the states that are pro-gun are Confederate states, according to this article. So it seems like the left is pushing for a civil war. I don't know, just one man's opinion from reading this opinion piece. It's just insane. Now, I on this channel have often, in jest referred to states like mine as slave states because we don't recognize everyone's freedoms related to firearms. But now you have it here in Missouri in an article that was published online nationwide now, where they're calling us, the Confederates. This is insane. Now, like I said, the bill the legislation that this person is referring to is the Second Amendment Preservation Act in Missouri, House Bill 1637, and I have the update as to where it sits right now. It was pre-filed last December, and I've done videos on it, and I'll put it above. And it was pre-filed December 6th of 2019, and on March 11th of 2020, just a couple weeks ago, it passed the General Laws Committee on a vote of 9-4, and it was then referred to where it sits right now, the Committee on Rules and Legislative Oversight. A bunch of legislators gonna determine something that might be legislative oversight. That's a funny name for a committee, but that's where it sits right now. So if you're in Missouri, you need to get on your people to have it moved. But what's funny is that the anti-gunners here, and especially in the story, but nationwide, they're holding on to that militia requirement, even though Supreme Court decisions have said that it is in and of itself. That's not everybody's requirement, and that the individual has a right to keep and bear arms. So they want to pick and choose certain parts of the wording of the amendment and pick and choose certain parts of certain rulings and ignore others, which is insane. This just shows you how crazy they are. They want to ignore the fact that Heller and McDonald have given the rights to the individuals, has reaffirmed that we have certain inalienable rights that are given to us by the Creator, and government doesn't give us the right. In fact, via documents such as the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights, they reaffirm that those rights are there. They don't give them to us lefties. You don't seem to understand that. Yet in this article, you make an argument that federal law is the supreme law of the land, according to the Constitution. And you also say that states can't ignore certain laws if they don't like them. In fact, that's what you're trying to do. Each slave state, that I call them, is trying to ignore the Second Amendment. What it comes down to is this. The anti-gun folks have an unnatural fear of inanimate objects. I mean, that is just cuckoo, but they want to force their fears on everybody else to make them feel safer. I also like how in the article they say that it's unfortunate that the Supreme Court had upheld the Constitution and the Second Amendment. It's unfortunate that they did that. That shows you exactly how these groups think. These groups like Moms Demand Action and Every Town for Gun Safety and the Brady Group and Michael Bloomberg himself and all the other little nooks and crannies of the country that work underneath that pyramid. And that is their MO, guys. Their modus operandi, that's a $20 word. Their modus operandi is to pick and choose parts of the Constitution or Supreme Court or even local rulings that work for their agenda and try to blindside the average person, the average sheep who does not follow constitutional law or state law or Supreme Court decisions. Probably doesn't even read the Constitution, doesn't even know what's in it, doesn't know what a Federalist paper is. Those are the people that they prey on now because they don't teach that stuff in school anymore. And that has led to the situation we're in. It is imperative that we educate our own. Tell your kids what the Constitution is and what it really means. Teach them about gun safety and firearms and how fun it can be to actually go shoot and how to be a responsible person with them so that if they ever have to take their safety into their own hands, they know how to handle it, they know what to do. And that's how we help grow the pro-gun community. A little bit of a different type of video here, but this is the MO of the anti-gunners written down on paper. Again, that article will be down below. Maybe leave a comment there. There are 33 comments right now, and some of them are pretty good. So check them out. Thank you to Nate again for supporting the channel. Check them out. That Bren 2 looks amazing with that folder. I have that folder on my Stribog, or Stribog, however you say it. It's said differently in different videos. But it's all metal, and that tail hook is awesome. I love that setup, although I don't have a CZ Bren 2. Maybe I'll have to think about that. So thank you all for your time. I appreciate it way more than you know. Until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, carry a weapon. Have a fantastic day, everybody.